Guys, welcome back to another YouTube video. On today's video, guys, I am going to be doing a full review on the newest entry into the Evil Dead franchise, Evil Dead Rise, and this has to be one of the most anticipated movies of the year for me. And I can't remember when I watched the trailer for the first time for this movie, but I know when I saw that trailer, I was super hyped. I was instantly hooked onto it. And I haven't watched any advertisements since then, which is probably a good thing, honestly. But overall, probably one of the most anticipated movies of the year for me. And I would say, right off the bat, it paid off pretty well. I already did my initial reaction, so you know, it's pretty much all positive vibes for this movie. But before I get onto the actual review, a few announcements to make. I know it's been a while since I've made a video. I haven't really watched any new movies, or there hasn't really been any new movies coming out that I wanted to see other than Renfield, which I missed because I was a little bit busy. But if I don't get to watching Renfield in theaters, I will probably watch it on streaming. And I'm probably not going to come out with a review for it, but it will be a movie that I will discuss at the ending of the year when I do my ending of the year tier list. Yeah, not only were there not really any movies coming out that I didn't want to see, I was also a little bit busier finishing up some work that I needed to get done. And now I shouldn't be as busy as I was over these past 2 months, which were pretty eventful for me. I had a lot of stuff going on that I'm really, really happy for, and I got done and all that kind of stuff, and I'm just really excited to head into the summer. Got a lot of new movies that are coming up that I want to see, and I'm just ready for some consistent hot weather and to frickin' dip in a pool already. Yeah, we got Big George Foreman, which is the last movie that I got planned for watching this month. We got Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which I already got my tickets for. I'm going to be watching on premiere night. We got Fast X, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. There's going to be a lot of movies that are going to be upcoming, and so I'm really, really hyped for the summer overall. I think that's really it for announcements to make. So, talking about, getting into the review, first talking about the plot, pretty straightforward overall. If you've watched a review already, you can kind of already get an idea of what the plot is without even really reading anything into it or anything like that. If you just kind of read, like, the stuff that people talk about positively about this movie, and the good things about this movie, you're probably going to get a general consensus of what the plot is. Basically, this mother of three, this single mother, is struggling to take care of her kids in this, like, old, creepy apartment, and her friend, who's, like, this punk rock, like, technician or whatever, comes back into town to see what's going on, trying to help her or whatever. And she sends her kids out to go get some pizza so that they can have dinner for the night. And while that happens, an earthquake happens, and it, like, tears open this hole in the ground, and they find this old bank vault. And in it is, of course, the Necronomicon. And obviously they open it. All hell breaks loose, and yeah, I'm sure you can understand what happens from there. If you've watched an Evil Dead movie, you're gonna understand what, how that all works there. Yeah, pretty straightforward plot, and I guess getting into the good, the mixed, and the bad parts about this movie. I would say pretty much all good things to talk about for this movie. If you've already watched a few reviews, I'm probably gonna be saying the same things other people have been saying. The main thing being, I really, really like how this movie, for being a spin-off, creates its own interesting dynamic and doesn't just try to copy the same kind of template and things like that the other Evil Dead movies have used. It goes for a different setting, a different template, all that kind of stuff, and it creates a really, really interesting plot dynamic. With one being in the apartment building really, really worked. I really, really like the setting. And how when things, start to get crazy, people start to get possessed and things like that. You got the escalator, not working. You got the stairs completely disappearing, and so they're, trying to figure out a way to escape and survive and things like that. You got other people in the apartment that are trying to help them out as well. They're not just completely useless, which when I first saw, when like, weird stuff started happening, things like that, and, like, the other people in the apartment came out, I was like, oh, great, these people are just going to be killed off right away or whatever. And they actually were used quite a bit in this movie before they were just killed off. So I kind of like how they did that, and they didn't just make the side characters completely useless. But overall, I really like the apartment setting, and I really like how the mother being possessed created a really, really interesting plot dynamic, because you have her friend that's coming in to help her take care of the kids and stuff like that. And so when the mom becomes possessed, she really takes on that motherly role, and goes from being very, very protective and stuff like that, and towards the ending the movie, she just becomes a complete badass. It's really, really awesome to see that transition in the movie. To like, kind of at the beginning of the movie, she's kind of being laughed at, and she's being very, very protective with the kids, and then at the end it becomes a complete badass. I really, really like how that happens. And it kind of, if you watch the movie, it's kind of ironic because they're making fun of her at the beginning of the movie for sleeping with a lot of dudes and things like that, and never being able to go through with having kids and things like that. But by the ending of this movie, she shows that she would be a really, really great mother. So I really, really liked how they did that in this movie. And all the obvious positive things, a lot of blood, a lot of gore. If you're coming for that, it's gonna deliver that. I'm sure you probably expected that. I mean, what else do you come to an Evil Dead movie for? So yeah, just really only positive things to come out of this movie. This movie had me, I guess, maybe like a few mixed things that I could have, but overall no negatives for me really for this movie. But I guess a few mixed things for me in this movie is there were a few moments where it was a little bit goofy, where they tried to, where the possessed characters were trying to be smartasses towards the regular characters, but instead they ended up just being goofy. And so there were a lot of times in this movie where I was like, should I laugh at this? Because this is pretty funny. And then other people would laugh in the theater, and I'm like, oh, yes, I'm glad I'm not the only one who thought that was really, really weird. And so there were a lot of moments like that in this movie. And then another mixed thing for me, this movie had me a little bit worried at the beginning with how they do the opening. I was like, I don't really like how they did that, so I hope they don't just, leave that abandoned until... Or they don't just leave that abandoned and never come back to that. And there were a few other things at the beginning of the movie as well that they had me a little bit worried about, like, are they going to do this, or are they going to do that? And then towards the ending of the movie, they finally covered all my bases, kind of closed everything, answered all my questions, and so luckily at the ending of the movie, they kind of resolved everything that I was hoping they would resolve. And it delivered everything that I wanted in an Evil Dead movie with, shotguns and chainsaws and stuff like that. By the end of the movie, gave me everything that I wanted in Evil Dead movies. So overall, if you're an Evil Dead fan, or if you just like gore and blood and all that kind of stuff, this movie is absolutely gonna deliver. And I don't even think you really need to... If you're just somebody who likes horror movies with a lot of gore and blood, I don't even think you need to really see the other Evil Dead movies to watch this movie, understand it, and have a good time overall. But if you're an Evil Dead fan like me, you're gonna have even more fun with it. So overall, I'm really, really satisfied with this movie. It definitely lived up to the hype, and covered all the bases for me. So on Rotten Tomatoes, I gave this movie a 4.5 out of 5 stars, and I think I'm gonna give it a direct transition from there. I think I'm gonna give it a solid 9 out of 10. And I would definitely recommend this movie, whether you're an Evil Dead fan or if you're somebody who really, really likes gore. Either way, you're going to really enjoy this movie, and it absolutely lived up to the hype for me, and I'm sure for you as well if you watch the trailer. So that's going to be it for the review. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section down below. Stay tuned for hopefully some more frequent movie reviews coming up here, since there are quite a few movies coming up that I would like to see, and that I'm already planning to see. So yeah, I think that's going to be it. Other than that, like and subscribe, guys, and I will see you next time.